Evolution of Sparky. Sparky, otherwise known as Experiment 221, debuts in the 2003 second animated movie in the franchise, Stitch the Movie, as one of the major characters, voiced by Frank Welker. Here, he appears as a small, bipedal alien cross between a koala, ground sloth, Chinese dragon, and gecko, since he has light yellow fur, small round ears, big dark blue eyes, a wide mouth with large flat teeth, two long, thin, forked antennae that protrude from the sides of his muzzle, and a short, lightning-shaped tail. He can generate electricity by himself, as well as turn into an electrical current, during which he can fly, with the lower half of his body turning into a streak of electricity, making him resemble an Asiatic dragon. In terms of personality, since Sparky was one of the experimental steps towards Stitch, they share many individualistic traits, such as liking to pick their noses with their tongues and being quite mischievous, hyperactive and fun-loving, but also destructive if not trained properly. In the story, he first appears after Jamba had been abducted by Hamsterville and Gantu to retrieve all his experiments, as Lilo and Stitch activated his dehydrated pod in order to ask him for help in recharging their spaceship and rescuing Jamba, though at first he escapes and short-circuits their house and some portions of their entire town. Soon, however, after Sparky comes to wreak havoc in the local hotel, Lilo and Stitch do manage to capture him by using a glass jar, which doesn't conduct electricity, and while talking, they befriend each other as a family, with Lilo giving him his name. Then, at the exchange location, Lilo bravely decides not to give him to Hamsterville and frees him instead, after which he heroically stops the Grand Councilwoman from destroying Hamsterville alongside the other experiments by overloading her ship's power grid, though allowing Hamsterville to escape and capture Lilo and Stitch. Fortunately, Sparky manages to get to Hamsterville's ship on time, save Stitch from being cloned, restrain Hamsterville, and then destroy their ship's navigation system, causing them to crash to Earth. At the end, Sparky officially becomes the very first experiment turned good by finding the place where he belongs, which is the large Kilauea lighthouse, where he can make the giant beacon light work again and light the ocean with it. Following, Sparky reappears in the first animated TV show, Lilo and Stitch the Series, which is a spin-off of the 2002 first movie that takes place after the events of the previous movie, continuing its storyline, in a supporting role, voiced again by Frank Welker. In the show, he can be seen multiple times throughout the series, both in the background and as Lilo and Stitch, who continue their task of finding and taming other experiments, often interact with him to deal with various issues. His background cameos include episodes such as Elastico, where he appears as one of the audience members for Lilo's hula dance, then Remy, in which he's one of the experiments in Lilo's dream, and also Skip, where he's among the wanted fugitives who had already been captured in an alternate future where Hamsterville rules Earth. With his major appearances shown in episodes such as The Asteroid, where he played a crucial role in saving the entire planet after Stitch called him and others to assist in redirecting an approaching asteroid, with him using his electric powers to recharge and jumpstart the spaceship, though during the journey he teases other experiments and shocks Pleakley too when he tries to calm them all down. Then, in Snafu, he joins Lilo and Stitch's team on their mission to rescue the other experiments, which had been captured by Gantu for Hamsterville, though reluctantly, as Lilo actually lured him away from the lighthouse with a trail of batteries, which he ate, after which he helps break into Gantu's ship, rescue the experiments, and after the job is done, he can be seen playing with his alien friends in Lilo's backyard. In the 2005 official animated short The Origin of Stitch, Sparky cameos on one of the screens among the predecessor experiments that led to Stitch, as Stitch himself explores his origins. Next, Sparky appears in the 2006 fourth animated movie Leroy and Stitch, which serves as a conclusion to the television series, set after all the experiments were turned good, as one of the supporting protagonists, voiced by the same voice actor. In the story, he first cameos at the very beginning as one of the experiments on the screen in the Galactic Federation, which Lilo and Stitch successfully adapted to living on Earth. And also a bit later, as they were returning home, Sparky can be seen from the lighthouse waving hello to Lilo and Stitch, with a similar scene being depicted among Lilo's photos in her album of Stitch's cousins. Sometime after, unfortunately, a new alien monster experiment, 629, or Leroy, created by Jamba, who was forced to do it by Hamsterville, kidnapped Sparky and all the other experiments with the use of Lilo's album and brought them to a stadium to be destroyed. However, thanks to Lilo, Stitch, Jumba, Pleakley, Reuben, and Gantu, who arrived there on time, Sparky and others were able to unite together and, using their various abilities, defeat the entire army of Leroy clones alongside Hamsterville himself. At the end, Sparky is also shown to join everybody in the final family photo. Then, Sparky briefly appears in the 2008 Japanese animated music video Stitch Meets High School Musical, which is a parody of the movie High School Musical, first among the other experiments and Gantu playing basketball until the ball gets stuck in the overhead scoreboard, after which he participates in the group dance to shake the floor and get it back down. Finally, in the anime TV series Stitch, which is the second series in the franchise, set many years after the events of Leroy and Stitch, Sparky appears in a guest character role, now voiced by Stephen J. Blum. In this series, he appears multiple times as a minor character throughout, being one of Stitch's closest friends, as well as in more significant ways, as can be seen in episodes, such as his debuting episode, An Electrifying Experience, in which he appears after being kidnapped by Hamsterville and put under his mind control, being sent to Izayoi Island on Earth to steal Stitch's good deed counter, to later exchange it for the power of the spiritual stone and become the Lord of the Universe, where he causes such chaos that Stitch and his human friend Yuna get involved and begin searching and investigating the town while hearing stories of a yellow ghost roaming the island and causing destruction. And after finally catching up to him, Stitch is initially very excited to see his cousin, but this changes after Sparky shocks both him and Yuna under the effects of Hamsterville's mind-controlling device and runs off. However, at the end, as Sparky engages Stitch in a battle in the forest, even succeeding in taking his good deed counter, a lightning bolt from the spiritual stone hits his head and destroys the device, causing him to return back to normal and reunite with Stitch as a family. And also the last two-part episode of the first season, Stitch vs. Hamsterville, where Hamsterville returns and now puts Jamba under his control, who in turn uses his genius to create a machine for extracting the power of the spiritual stone for Hamsterville, manages to put the mind control devices on all the other experiments, including Sparky, and also captures Stitch. Soon, however, after Stitch breaks free and battles with the experiments, he manages to break all the devices, freeing Sparky and others and allowing them to help him defeat now superpowered Hamsterville by supporting him to the point when the spiritual stone gives Stitch all its power for a short time to successfully overpower Hamsterville and later put him and his henchmen in prison, ending in the final celebratory beach dance of Sparky, Stitch, Yuna, and all their friends.